good evening, and welcome to another episode of Melbourne After Dark. I am your host, Mech. After that rousing introductory song, let's read the story. Recuperating from their previous adventure, Hugo's House of Horrors, Hugo and Penelope travel to Europe and the quiet charm of the English countryside, where they have just arrived at the secluded cottage of Hugo's great uncle Horace. We join them in the hall, where they are met by the maid. A saucy-looking French maid welcomes you. Bonjour, Hugo et Penelope. I have placed your bags in your room upstairs. It is the third door on the right. S'il vous plaît. You go upstairs now, please. I think you must be tired after your long flight, no? We see you in a little while, yes? Penelope starts making her way upstairs. As you may have already gathered from the rather quick introduction, this is Hugo 2, Whodunit. This is probably my favourite out of the three Hugo series, because this one is the most expansive, and it has a lot of interesting twists to it, so we'll see. At the moment, we're standing inside our great Uncle Horace's house, somewhere in England. Thank you. The maid speaks to you. Please go to your room, monsieur. I've always wondered whether the image of the mansion or house at the beginning of the game was based off another photo or something like that, like the haunted house in the previous game. I have had a look, and I haven't been able to find any images of a house which looks similar to it, so maybe, but considering the quality of the rest of the art, I kind of assume it's based off a real image. Anyway, we can't go past the maid, I'm pretty sure. If the maid doesn't block you, I would assume there's an invisible wall, so we just go upstairs. That's Penelope up there in the green dress. We didn't actually get to see her in the last game. It was just a black silhouette, if you remember, at the end of Hugo's House of Horrors. Anyway, we can have a look around here. Let's see. You are in the hall of Great Uncle Horace's cottage. We'll see that it's not exactly a cottage. It is quite a bit bigger than that. The maid speaks to you impatiently. Please go to your room, monsieur. Open door. The maid calls you. Monsieur, I told you already. Tis the third door on the right. Okay, well, let's do that. Open door. There's nothing much you can do as Hugo here anyway. I'm really tired after our long flight, Hugo, says Penelope as she walks towards the bed. Why don't you get a book from the bookcase and read while I have a little snooze, she continues. Bonk. And she sleeps like a plank. Well, now we're in the bedroom and we're not allowed to leave because of the maid. Let's have a look. You are in the guest bedroom. Look, bed. It is a quaint old four-poster. Use bed. I don't think that would accomplish much somehow. Well, Penelope's having a sleep, but we can't. Look, Penelope. Why, it's Penelope! Well, of course it is. Look, self. It's the handsome Hugo. Look, door. You see nothing very interesting about it. Look, keyhole. You can make out a room that looks like somebody's study. There doesn't appear to be anyone in there. Look, table. There is nothing on it. Well, I can see that. I mentioned in the last game that there's a slight annoyance when adventure games state the obvious, rather than giving you anything more information, but, well, I don't expect the game to give you much more information about a small table like that. Let's have a look at this bookshelf. Look, bookshelf. One yellow book seems to be sticking out slightly. Look, yellow book. One yellow book seems to be sticking out slightly. Yes, okay, fine. Well, we said we were told to do some light reading, so let's take the book. As you grasp the book, you hear a low rumbling noise as the bookcase starts to move. Oh my! Oh dear! It looks like Hugo has disappeared into a secret chamber behind a bookcase. Whatever next? Meanwhile, sweet Penelope sleeps on. Time passes. You can already see that this game has much more of a plot to it than the previous one. A noise awakens Penelope from her slumbers. A heated argument appears to be going on in the room next door. Wondering briefly where Hugo is, you decide to get up and investigate what all the commotion is about. You see a light shining through the keyhole of the door over to the left. Okay, and Penelope gets up and starts to walk over to the left side of the room and bumps into the door. We actually have control of Penelope right now. So for surprise, surprise, we're going to be playing as Penelope during this game. Look, keyhole. Okay. Oh look, it's Great Uncle Horace. Who's that he's arguing with? Penelope is so shocked by what she just witnessed that she completely faints. Plonk. After a little while, she comes around. All is quiet now. Boink. Well, poor Great Uncle Horace. It appears there is a murder in her house. Oh no. Who would ever thought of this? So now, sweet Penelope, your mission is clear. To find out who murdered Great Uncle Horace and bring them to justice. By the way, where did Hugo disappear to? Oh, he's a second thought. We don't need to bother about him. Look, keyhole. The room is too dark to see anything now. You may have noticed when Great Uncle Horace hit the ground that a slight red, I don't know, flash appeared around his neck. It always what struck me as odd that I suppose it was an attempt at blood effects, but it's really quick and it kind of just looks like a balloon or something appearing. Anyway, well, let's see. Can we leave the room? You really should look around in this room first. Okay. Look, bed. It's a quaint old four-poster bed. Well, we saw that. Look, table, we've seen. There's nothing behind the bed, so we look at the bookshelf again. We don't have to look at the bookshelf, but one yellow book seems to be sticking out slightly. Oh well, take book. My, everyone's being eaten by the bookcase. Oh. Well, we appear to be in another room now. Well, obviously we are in another room. Look, you are in Great Uncle Horace's study. Look, door. You see nothing very interesting about it. Look, keyhole. You see nothing very interesting about it. It's not if it's not obvious, this is a room which we saw Great Uncle Horace be murdered in. That's the door with the bedroom on the other side. It apparently doesn't have a door handle on it though. Anyway. It's a very sparsely appointed office with a very low chair, and there's a bird in a cage. Look, bird. It is a brightly coloured parrot. Talk to bird. Squawk! Pretty birdie, what are you doing with that knife? Stop it! Ah! Squawk! Continuing the trope of birds being able to remember and recite what happened during murders, look at desk. Opening the book desk drawer reveals a book of matches. Get matches, even though everything in my fiber or soul is telling me not to. Okay, this book of matches will be a lot of trouble later on in the game. If you've played this game yourself, you will know what I'm talking about. That part is not exactly as difficult as it seems to be. There is a rather simple solution to it, but it is still difficult. It's like, you know, the King's Quest cliffs and stuff. Anyway, enough of that. We'll see more of that later on. Look, phone. Oh, if we look at the desk, we can see that there's a phone on it. It's that this thing here. You see nothing very interesting about it. Well, I suppose it's a phone. Use phone. You pick up the phone and dial the police. Just as you get through and are about to tell your story, the line goes dead. Of course. Use phone. You can pick up the phone and dial the police. Just as you get through and are about to tell your story, the line goes dead. Someone keeps making the line go dead just as we start to tell our story. Someone listening in on us. Look, inkwell. I don't think that would accomplish much somehow. Well, there is an inkwell, which I assume that's what that is over there, but that doesn't seem to do anything. Look, blotter. There is nothing to read on the blotter. No, wait! At the very bottom, you almost too small to read, you can make out the words. Acme Blotting Products, Inc. I don't think I've ever actually seen that. I mean, I've kind of always known what a blotter is, but obviously when I played this as a little kid, I wouldn't have known the word for that. So I think this is the first time I've ever read that. It's a very bad pun with ink there. Ugh. Anyway, get blotter. It is of no use to you. Move blotter. You don't have it. Okay, whatever. And there's nothing else to do with the desk. Sorry. Well, we'll save at the moment anyway. We'll save here and we'll go Mech 4. That door is locked and you don't have the key. Death comes a little bit more quickly in this game. It is still restrained to very specific moments, but my memory is a little more hazy on this game, so... Oh, we're in some child's playroom. Look. Oh, we could just say look. Look. You're in the baby's room. But there's no baby. Does that mean it is not the baby's room? Anyway. Look. Balloon. You're not close enough. It's just over there. Look. Balloon. Ballon. Luftballon. It is a brightly coloured balloon. Get balloon. As you grab the balloon, it bursts. A little card, which apparently was inside the balloon, floats to the ground. You pick up the card and read it. Confucius say, detective who spend all day catching red herrings might do better to quit job and become fisherman. The jokes are coming thick and fast. Get blocks. I think you're a little too old to be playing with a baby's building blocks. Never. Look, blocks. Ugh, fine, they're just coloured blocks. Look, crib. You're in the baby's room. Yes, I know that. Look, pen? You don't have it. Is there a pen which we can get in this game? I don't remember. Oh, hang on. I think I know what it's actually mentioning there. This door is locked, and you don't have the key. As big as the cottage/mansion is, it is rather limited in where you can go, at what times at least anyway. The exact layout of the house is a bit confusing, but anyway, what's this over here? Look, wall. On the wall behind Great Uncle Horace's desk is a box in the wall. On closer inspection, this appears to be a dumbwaiter. Well, we know what to do with a dumbwaiter, don't we? Climb in dumbwaiter. You get into the dumbwaiter and press the switch. The dumbwaiter descends to the kitchen below. For those of you who don't know, dumbwaiters were used to transport plates of food from one floor to the other in our old houses where using the stairs would have taken too long and the food would have gotten cold. Now we're in the kitchen. This should look familiar to you because this kitchen layout is the same as it was in Hugo's House of Horrors. Slightly different, but there's no broom against the wall and the doors move slightly, but it's the same general layout. The stove is exactly the same. Look, stove. You're in the kitchen. Yes, I know I am. Look, oven. There is nothing very interesting in or around that particular unit. Fine. Look, cupboard. Opening the cupboard reveals a clove of garlic. Get garlic. Okay. Look, garlic. Look, garlic. Ugh, the garlic smells foul. I like garlic, especially on a good steak. Look, sink. There is nothing. Yes, fine. Well, what is the one for inventory? I think it's F6. You are carrying matches and garlic. Well, now, let's have a look over here. And, open door. It won't open. Unlock door. I don't think you can. Kick door. You should try to be more constructive. Games like this never allow you to kick things down. I suppose if you could answer all of your problems by kicking it, then there wouldn't be any problems which you couldn't solve in the game. Here's the outs. Now we're actually outside of the house. This is what I mean, that the art in this one seems to be quite a bit better than the previous one, which makes me suspicious that the images are actually taken from photographs rather than done by hand. Especially if you look at all the all the shading and stuff on here and along there. It seems too detailed to have been done by hand. Anyway, let's move. Oh, hang on. Just a moment. I will save again because I know what's coming up, and we'll go over here. Ugh. Whoa there! Don't get too close to the Venus flytraps. Here's one of the first major problems with this game. Or not so much major problem as major obstacle. This is like the King's Quest games where if you... well, let's just see. Oh dear, you wandered too close to one of the Venus flytraps. Now you'll never rescue Hugo and solve the Whodunit. And you're dead. I've mentioned before that I don't tend to like death in adventure games, but that's really only death which comes without any real warning. I think these, the Venus flytraps at least, are a rather obvious death. So, well, what do we have to do here? We have to carefully maneuver around the Venus flytraps. There's a rather large path, all things considered, around them. But it's still kind of annoying in certain parts because you have to spend... oh, well, that was easier than I thought. Ugh! I opened my mouth too soon. Oh, in this game, if you want to stop, you have to press the same direction which you are moving in, and then you will actually stop moving. Right, there we go. Well, let's first have a look at this. Look. Ground. You see nothing very interesting about it. Fine. Well, I know what it is. Get magnifying glass. Okay. Look. Butterfly? Yeah, I know that. Look, bees. Nope. Okay. There you can see little butterflies or something flapping around the place. Ah! Ugh. At least loading's quick in this game. Okay. Get glass. Okay. Save. Very well. Right, now, moving on, and hopefully no more death. Then we'll go down. There is an exit, I think, over to the left, right. I will just see. Yes, there is. Here's another screen. It is a gate with some lights over it. Look, gate. You see nothing very interesting about it. Look, you are standing in front of a pair of very large iron gates. The gates appear to be closed. Well, we can't go there, and it still looks like it's taken from a photograph. And here is the biggest obstacle in the game. It is a very peaceful scene with hills rolling off into the distance, little clouds in the sky, some tufts of grass near to the footpath, and a grey bridge over a small stream. The grey bridge is the biggest obstacle in the game. If you play King's Quest games, you can probably guess why, and it is very similar to the Venus flytraps, which we just passed by, but, well, let us have a look. Oops, how careless. You seem to have dropped your little book of matches when you bumped into the side of the bridge. And they appear over to the other side of the bridge. Well, let's go over and we'll try and get them. Get matches. Okay, look, matches. Your matches look a little soggy, presumably because you dropped them into the stream so carelessly. At this point, we cannot complete the game because our matches are all wet. We have to get across that bridge without dropping the matches into the river, and we will drop the matches into the river every time we bump into the edges of the bridge. So, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to do probably some more saving and loading. There is a way which you can get across it, I'm pretty sure. If you line yourself up with a specific part of the path, you can just sort of, you know, walk over it. Let me just think for the moment though. Should I do this now? There's a few more things which I could do at this side, so I think I'll leave it for the moment. Once I... Oh, hang on. I can drop the matches on the ground once I get over to the other side, so I'll do that. You'll just have to... Excuse me, damn it. Wrong save, restore, that one. Right. Now we have to go up slightly. This is going to take a while. Alright. I will stop the video here, and I will see you back when I actually manage to get across the bridge. So, I'll be back in... Hello, and welcome back. I have actually managed to make it across the bridge. It took about 5 or 6 tries, but finally I've managed to do it. Right, now that that's out of the way, let's see if I can... Oops, sorry. Let's see if I can drop matches. Okay. Get matches. Okay. Look matches. Okay. Fine, they're good. Drop matches right here. Okay. Save. Yep, I made another save. Mech 4. Okay, now that that's all done, and we've gotten across the bridge, and the matches are safely on the right side of the bridge, we can actually move on. Oh geez, whoa there, don't get too close to those ferocious looking bees. I like bees, they make honey. Uh-oh. Stingaroo! Oh dear, you seem to have wandered a bit too close to one of the killer bees. I didn't wander, they came straight for me. Looks like it's curtains for you. Now you'll never be able to rescue Hugo and solve the Whodunit. After I solve that, I will hunt down those killer death bees. Oh, hang on. Okay, well, we can't go any further this way because there's the bees. And we've got the box of matches, so we can get across the bridge with bumping into all the edges that we want. Oh, hang on, there's one other thing which we need here. We can't actually see it. You are standing in a field by a stream. There is a little bridge across the stream. You notice some wild catnip plants growing here and there. Oh, what does that say? Oh, it said there was a book of matches over there. Okay. Look. Catnip. You see nothing very interesting about it. Well, we know in adventure games, if it exists, we pick it up. Get catnip. Okay. Look. Catnip. Fine. Still nothing interesting about catnip. Well, if we go back this way, there was a Venus flytraps, and... Hang on, that's not Venus flytraps. Yeah, the screen layout from... in this game is a little odd. In that you can go from one screen to another and go back, and you end up in a different place. That it is consistent, it's just that one screen with the Venus flytraps which leads to the gate, and when you go back it leads to the shed. There's no place to the left over here. Or at least it leads just here to this shed. Oh, it's so MS Paint. You can see what I meant in the previous game videos, in Hugo's House of Horrors, if you watch that, where I said that the art style in this has improved a bit. You can see that there's more. It's I mentioned then, but it's more of a increased usage of the spray can tool. You can see there's more variety in colours on the bush and in the clouds. I think it's still effective. It's simple looking, but whatever. Anyway, we can see someone moving around inside the shed. Let's go inside and have a look. The gardener sees you. He appears to be holding a pair of pliers, which he quickly thrusts into his pants, as if to hide them. He speaks. Oh, my, you're a pretty little thing, and no mistake. What say you close the door, eh? That'll make things nice and private. Hee hee. Look. Gardener. Gardener. Come closer, my dear. The gardener returns your stare. Kissy kissy. Well, let's see. He doesn't actually do anything, but he's in the way of this Igor arraignment of buttons. Yes, you'll notice that that gardener is using the exact same what's it called, model as Igor and the guard at the end of Hugo's House of Horrors. I said at the time to make note of it. The gardener suddenly seems to tire of you. Ignoring you, he potters around about his workbench. Do we have to reload? Nope. Okay. Oh well. What do we do? Eat garlic. It would appear the gardener is not too fond of garlic. Your terrible garlic breath seems to have gotten the better of him. Whoosh! And he makes trails. Before you start hitting those buttons, a word of explanation. Since you don't know what they do, you won't know what you've done till you see what they do. Confused? I'm sure you'll soon get the hang of it. Well, we're in the tool shed. Look, wall. You can see various rusty old tools. None of them look as if they would be of much use to you. Look, broom. You see nothing very interesting about it. I assume it's a broom. It does also kind of look like, I don't know, some kind of like handheld lawnmower or something maybe. Anyway, look, buttons. You can see 4 coloured buttons. Underneath the buttons is some lettering. The lettering is very faded, and you can only make out the following characters underneath the green button. BGAPE. I don't know what that means. Big carpet? Anyway, well, what do we do when we see buttons? Push red button. That turns the light off. Okay, push red button. If you didn't notice, it turned the little light bulb above and in the shed here. Push yellow button. Click. That did something. I wonder what that did. Let's go and have a look. Ooh! It turned the lights on over the gate there. Well, that's useless. Let's go back, and we will push yellow button. Click. I think we'll actually find out what the last 2 buttons do in the next video, because I think I'm about to up to 30 minutes. So we'll catch you later, and we'll see you then. Bye.